We, me, you, we. First of all, audio good, levels is good, levels is good, levels is good. Tonight on the Daily Go Getimism show on this Power Monday, we are talking about jobs that desensitize you. Jobs that desensitize you. But in the meantime, in between time, we are here. So let's get it popping. I think I know what the problem is. I'm gonna tell you what the problem is. I cut my favorite out of the game, and I ain't feeling it. Get my boy back in here. Get my boy. Now we right. Yeah. Sorry. B to B. T carry right. Thanks for coming on through. mic button, y'all. Please don't front on me. I wouldn't front on you. Everything is gonna be all right. I guarantee you that tonight. Yeah, so we stress. Try to pass that. Jobs that sensitize your ears, your eyes. And this is how it's going down. Urban Therapy with Sun 752. But this your daily. It's the Daily Go Get Up Mism Show. We do this every single day. Every day it rains. Every day it rains. And the DG will do the same. We break it down, baby. Every day it rains. And the DG will do the same. Every day it rains, and the DG will do the same. Every day it rains, and the DG will do the same. Every day it rains, and the DG will do the same. I'm your host, Sun 752, aka Omar with the and if you can't say Omar with the whether you just say Omar with the R, this is the Daily Go Getimism Show. I'm feeling like a real man should. I hope y'all feeling like real men and women should also. So tonight on the Daily Go Getimism Show, on this glorious June 1st, Monday, Power Monday, we talking about jobs that desensitize you. What do you know? What do you show? Jobs that desensitize you. Desensitize you to what? It could be a variety of things. You ever think about, even though I don't like cops, and when I say I don't like cops, boy, do I mean it. Boy, do I mean it. But I do recognize that they have a struggle. They have a struggle. They have a struggle to try not to look at everybody in the neighborhood as being a bad guy or as being up to something. So the amount of negativity that they see, the amount of crime that they deal with, and you realize that's all they deal with in their job. So it desensitizes them to criminal behavior. They recognize the dangers of it and the prevalence of it, but it becomes harder and harder for them to recognize that anybody is decent in the places that they police, in the places that they work, the area, the neighborhoods that they work. It becomes increasingly harder and harder and harder to look at the people as being people. You know, you can start to believe that they're all animals. They're all violent criminals. They're all scheming. They're always up to something. They're always lying to get out of something. Their mode of survival is different. And that's just being a cop. So we're going to get into that tonight. Oh, nah, I'm not saying that we're going to talk about cops all night, because we're not. But I'm just trying to set the stage for how this thing is going to go. Do you understand? Do you know? Do you understand? Does it show? So let's get it popping, man. Let me get my hardware out of the way. Let me get my hardware out of the way so we can have this conversation. We can have this conversation between who? It's me and you. It's just what? Just me and you. I said, who? Just me and you. Who is it? Yo, me and you. So what's going on, y'all? So that's what we're talking about tonight. Daily Go Getimism Show. And we're talking about jobs that desensitize you. Jobs that desensitize you. When you hear that, what's the thing that immediately comes to your mind? What kind of jobs immediately come to your mind when you talk about being desensitized? Now, y'all see the poll question. 11 people have voted on the poll question already. So, when you think about violence and you think about death, that's one of the things that really separate people, because not everybody can deal with seeing violence, experience violence, especially experiencing violence. But people who have grown up around violence all their lives, seeing people get hurt, seeing people fighting all the time, seeing people get shot and stabbed, bleeding out, ambulance coming to pick up people, people going to the hospital and never coming home, going to funerals a lot and things like that. People who have grown up around that either get really desensitized to it, like life isn't really worth that much, or they become very, very nervous and scared, scared to let their kids go anywhere, scared to let their kids go outside, scared to let them hang out with their friends, because they recognize all of the violence that the random violence that it seems that can happen to people out there. So it can be really hard on a parent who is not desensitized to the violence, but very, very sensitive to the violence. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want that. Man, when my baby girl was younger, my daughter's mom didn't want my baby girl or her big brother to experience any violence. My daughter's mom has never been in a fist fight. The weirdest shit I ever heard. Like, what do you mean you've never been in a fight? Like, you grew up in Brooklyn. I've never known anybody from Brooklyn who never fought. Like, how did you manage to escape? You know what I mean? How did you manage to escape Brooklyn? Escape from Brooklyn without ever getting into a fight? She had never been in a fist fight. And she's very, very, I ain't gonna say she a scaredy cat or nothing like that, but she is definitely sensitive to violence. Very sensitive to violence. You know what I mean? Not your average New Yorker. So, of course, with her having custody of my daughter, she kind of raised her the same way. So Philly is a different animal. You can't, I don't know anybody from this city that never been in a fight. I don't care how pretty you are, how ugly you are, how nerdy you are, how smart you are, how whatever. Like, somebody is going to try you. You know, male and female. You're not making it out of here without either having hands put on you or you putting hands on somebody. So it is what it is. Shoot, I thought Brooklyn was the same way. That's what all the other Brooklynites told me. That's what they told me. What y'all know? Where my New Yorkers at? Where my New Yorkers at? All the other and I swear, all the other New Yorkers that I know, they like, shit, I grew up in the buildings. I grew up in the projects. We fought all the time. You know what I mean? We fought going in. We fought coming out. I guess when you don't grow up in the projects and you don't have to, I don't know. But I understand, seeing how things seem to be out here and being a little concerned. So I can't be mad at it. Surely, the world's most precious and greatest pearl in the world. What's good? How you feeling? How you feeling? All right, so yeah, jobs that desensitize you. Now, you can be desensitized without even going to work or having a job. But if you work in an industry where you may have been attracted to the job that you're doing, or, you know, to make ends meet, you may have tried a profession that you never thought about trying before, and you wind up being good at it, or was, the money was right and you stayed in it. Happens. Too Damn Cool says, good day. Good day from Australia, mate. It's 4:15 p.m. Tuesday afternoon here in Brisbane, Australia. How are you, mate? Man, I'm feeling like a real man should. Thanks for coming on through. I love it when my people from down under come through and represent. And y'all are a whole day ahead of us for the most part, because that's about 14 hours. Man, yeah, it is. That's 14 hours because it's only 2:18 here, a.m. And that's on the East Coast. So on the West Coast, it's 3 hours behind us. So, like y'all crazy ahead of them 15 hours. Liam McNeil says, girthy, he catches me every time. Girthy women are more precious. Let's hear it for the girthy women. Girthy, 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 girthy. Don't hate. Put on weight. Don't be a hater. Break out the scale. I want me a jaw so big she reminds me of a whale. Do you speak whale? We gonna make it happen. Yeah, I'm glad that you came through. All right, Too Damn Cool says, I'm a proud Black Indigenous Australian, single mom of 6 grown, 5 boys, and 32 grandkids. I'm blessed. Well, you most certainly are. You most certainly are. You sound extra blessed. You know what I mean? When God was giving out blessings, it sounded like he made sure that you got extra helpings. Like, yo, you ain't got enough blessings on your plate. Let me put some blessings on your plate and then put some gravy on it. Eat up. That's what's up. Mr. Sinatra says, nah, skinny women better. Hey, man, whatever floats your boat. Whatever floats your boat. I was just going along with what my man said. You know what I'm saying? He said he like girthy women. He don't never say fat. He said girthy. He want them thick. You know what I mean? This shit got girth. Man, this is crazy. Shirley Cheryl said, yes, indeed, truly blessed. Without a doubt. Without a doubt, blessings abound. So, yeah. So we talking about jobs that desensitize you. What do y'all know about being desensitized to something by your job? Now, at the top of the show, I was talking about cops, how cops can be desensitized to crime and violence and whatever, because they have to see it every day. But you know who else can be desensitized to crime and violence? People who, well, this is the criminal justice system in a way. Prison guards, correctional officers. I mean, going to jail every day, seeing how these cats exist, like their mind state and their mind frame, their mode of survival on the inside. And you start to see what they have done on the outside to get them on the inside. Desensitized. You know what I mean? Like, I think if I was a prison guard going to work every day, I would probably charge each and every inmate as being guilty. Because once you in there, you start acting guilty. Because it's the only way to survive in there. And it can be depressing. All the COs that I've known, either they really liked their job because it was exciting and they liked the drama, or they fucking couldn't stand it. or they couldn't stand it. Too Damn Cool says government members. Explain that a little bit. Government members, politicians. Politicians, what are they desensitized to? Actually, politicians can be desensitized to a lot, like corruption. With all of they see everybody stealing money. They see it. All of their constituents, their colleagues, they see money, 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 money. One thing that you realize when you work as a politician is that the whole game is about money. It's not about people. That the people are the pawn. That's the game. They're the excuse. The game is about money. Every single law, every single bill has a dollar value attached to it. How do you explain your way out of that without admitting that the game is all about money? It's not about people. It's not about people. Even down, from the highest white collar crimes, blue collar crimes, or should I say violent crimes, all the way down to just parking tickets. Money, money, money. Fines, fees, the exchange of goods and services is all money. So, you can get desensitized to the corruption of government. You can get desensitized to it to the point where you figure, well, fuck it. If I don't steal somebody else is going to steal it, and I'm going to get accused of stealing anyway. So I'm going to leave with something. On the Denzel Washington tip, I'm from around the way. I'm leaving with something. Too Damn Cool says in Australia, I go to jail to talk to the indigenous boys to keep them grounded and strong and remind them that they made a mistake and can fix themselves through healing with family. Well, I'm glad that works. And I hope that you've had a lot of success in that. The criminal justice system in the United States is off the chain. We believe in jail. We believe in prison. We make money off of prisons. I mean, prisons are already making money, but we privatize. I mean, can you imagine that? We privatize prisons. So, you got a bunch of money. Let's go ahead and build a prison or buy one. And you'll have as much money as a damn NFL team owner. Let go Lambo lover. What up? And Bob Barberstein. What's good? Say, yo, Bobby is back, brother. What's up, dog? Yo, man, it's good to see me some you. Salute. As a matter of fact, you know what I mean? That's for my man Barberstein. Give him a good. Yes. That's for all of y'all. Yeah, man. Don't let it die down. Word. Good to see y'all, man. Real shit. But yeah, so I'm talking about jobs that desensitize you. Yeah, being a politician can desensitize you to corruption. Like everybody's on the take. So, as long as you don't take too much, you can do this. You can do this your whole term or your whole administration, or for as long as you are in the political game. And even when you leave, since you know how it works, you can always make it work to your advantage. You can become an elder, or you can become a statesman or an elder statesman. Always getting money. Oh shit. Bob Barberstein says, any big women stories? I don't know. Ask my man Liam. My man, he on that girthy woman side of things. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure y'all can swap war stories. Y'all can maybe y'all can swap whale stories. I speak whale. I speak whale. I had a conversation with somebody today, talking about, they were asking about the whole real ID thing and how you can't fly domestically without a real ID, or hold on, yeah, I had to put my fan on. It's a little, you know what I mean? It's a little warm. It's a little warm. I'm trying to blow myself away, but yeah, so we was talking about how you need a real ID or a passport in order to even fly domestically in the United States. And she was saying that she doesn't really like to fly, but she's planning to go away sometime within the next year. But she was saying that she would rather take a boat, you know what I mean? Like go on a cruise or whatever. And I'm like, well, you know, coming out of Philly, we not close enough to the ocean for you to take a boat from here, from what I know. Now, if they have ships that come into to like the Delaware River and that will take you out to the ocean, you know what I mean? I haven't seen that. Now, I have seen ships here, but not going out. I've just seen them built here. So anyway, so she was, it came down to talking about if the ship sink, because I was like, a lot of these ocean liners have sank in recent years. You know what I mean? That shit is scary as hell. You know, they've been Titanic and ocean liners, cruise ships. It ain't sweet like that. And she was like, well, at least with a boat, you got rescue boats and rafts and stuff like that. You know, you can still live. I'm like, I don't know. You saw the Titanic. It wasn't sweet like that. They ain't got enough life rafts for everybody that's on the boat. It don't work that way. You know what I mean? And the other thing is, you're going to get in that water. So a lot of people who go on cruises can't swim. So anyway, it came down to talking about, she didn't think that whales ate people. I was like, you never saw orca? I'm like, they may spare a human being, maybe, but they out there, that's what they eat. Now sharks, they smell blood, they come in to chomp away. I'm not sure what makes a whale swallow somebody. Okay. All right. Hold on.
You have a call from.
Welcome to the Daily Go-Getimism Show. Thank you for calling in. What's on your mind this evening?
Of course. Yeah, I personally, I grew up a lot around violence too, and living from Section 8 and using EBT, you little monkey slave reject that nigga, Ron my Henry boy.
Don't hang up. Hang in there. He's a bum. He's a bum. These motherfuckers don't have shit to do. They don't have shit to do. The thing is, he didn't block his number. I could call this dickhead back. Let me know if y'all want me to call him back. I'll call this dumbass back. You know what I mean? But anyway, moving right along. All right. Dissonance was good. Okay. Lego Lamblower says on a cruise, you still need a passport. Well, not only that, but my point was you're going to probably have to take a plane to the boat. Most cruise ships that I know, they sail out of like Miami or somewhere out in Florida, because the cruises, they go around the Caribbean or Mexico or somewhere. So, I just don't like this administration and all of the planes that have gone down. Look, this dickhead is calling back. Okay. All right, so let's keep it moving. All right. Bob Bobberstein says, big women sink my ship for real, for real. What up, Anthony? Says, who the GOAT, LeBron or MJ? For my money, it's LeBron. But I understand the dispute. I totally understand the dispute. You know what I mean? If anybody says it's MJ, how am I going to argue with it? 2 back-to-back three-peats. How can I argue with it? So, it is what it is. It is what it is. Lego says, I'm a seasoned cruiser. What? Okay. He said they changed, bro. Okay. What did they change? Bob Bummerstein says, I'm looking for a whale of a woman, brother. Please help me out. A whale. Yo, y'all, do me a favor. Please hit that like button. Hit the like button. Share the show. Subscribe to the channel. But please, if nothing else, hit the like button. It helps the channel out. The channel needs help. I would appreciate it. Appreciate it mucho. That's a lot. All right. Lego says, in the Caribbean, your ship isn't going to hit well, that's true. It's not going to hit an iceberg. So what has been the reason that some of them have sank? This shit, that shit is concerning. I saw one video. It looked like the cruise ship hit the damn I don't want to say it hit shore, but because it hit like it hit land. Like somebody fell asleep at the wheel. Like, what the hell? Like, you see this big ass ship? You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't straighten out. It hit the damn I don't want to say like the deck. Because it wasn't a beach. It wasn't a beach. This shit was crazy. So, okay. What up, Gavin? What's good? Liam says, can a brother get a poll going for girthy or skinny women? Sure, after this one is done. Look, this dickhead is trying to call back. Man. When I tell, you know what? I'm gonna let him live. I'm gonna answer him on this one. Go ahead, my man. Do your thing.
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing? Let me take you off speaker. Go ahead. Now, all you can, he can go ahead and speak. Y'all can't hear him. I can't hear him. It's all good. I'm undefeated. Fucking undefeated. Oh, we got trolls heavy tonight. Let's see.
From
Hello?
Caller with the last number is 3930. Welcome to the Daily Go Getimism Show.
Speak up a little bit.
Say it again.
I said speak up. I can't hear you.
Okay. And nobody can hear you now. So go ahead and speak your piece. All right. So let me see. Oh, you say you go on 5 cruises a year. All right. So in the past 10 years, there have been cruise ships sunk. Wait, in the past 10 years, there have been how many? In the past, there have been no cruise ships that have sunk. It ain't been 10 years since. Hold on, let me see. Let me see. How many cruise ships have sank in the past 10 years? It says in the past 10 years, 15 cruise vessels have sunk. However, it's important to note that the term sink can be interpreted differently. Some sources like Ratzon, Weissman, and Bolt says focus on major cruise ship accidents, including sinkings between 2005 and 2023, reporting 15 vessels sank. Other data, like from Statista, indicates that between 2013 and 2022, there were 870 vessel losses, with the majority being cargo ships. Well, I'm not asking about no cargo ships. But, okay, so they say 15 cruise vessels. I don't know, man. You know, I know there were more than 0. I'm not going to cop out to the 15, but I know it was more than 0. You said you searched? I searched too. As a matter of fact, bing! Now that's only one Google search. That's only one Google search, but you know, it came up quick. It came up quick. Oh man. All right. But anyway, jobs that desensitize you. Does anybody listening to this show work in a hospital or work in healthcare? Does anybody work in healthcare or work in a hospital or anything like that? Because if you do, so, you know, like one thing that healthcare workers can become desensitized to is pain and suffering. Nurses, doctors, you know, they see so much of it that their level of judgment about pain and suffering between patients is way different than you and I would. So a nurse can listen to a person scream and yell in pain all night long, whether they have administered pain medication or not. I've seen it. I've heard it. I've experienced it. So all night long, you know, listening to somebody be like, oh my God, please help me. Please help me. It's a real thing. Desensitized to pain and suffering. And they see death time and time again. Now, you have the people who work in transport at a hospital and maybe security that consistently takes the bodies down to the morgue, the dead bodies, the patients that didn't make it, taking them to the morgue day in and day out. How do you think they feel about death? Are they desensitized to death? Maybe not, but I can see how they would or could be. What up, Troy? Greedy's La Familia. Wait, hold on. Where's the diesel? Where's the diesel part? It's just Troy? That's what we doing? Well, I never. Oh, you said that, Cheryl? Yeah, it's real shit. It's real shit. Legal lamb. I lost a sibling when he was a baby. I've seen it too. That shit is crazy, man. That shit is mad crazy. So, I mean, but that's a job that they do. That's how they make their living. That's, it's par for the course. That's par for the course. Hit that like button, y'all. Hit the like button, please. Please hit the like button. Make sure y'all participate in the poll question. Please hit the like button. I would appreciate it. I appreciate it. But yeah, so the guys who work in transport, who have to take the dead bodies out all the time, how do you think they feel about death? I'm not sure if they're all desensitized or not, but I know on some level, it's hard for them. It's going to be hard for them to really deal with the pain of or the seriousness, and of death. I'm talking about. And the other thing is, when you work in a hospital, you see the families of the victims or the families of the recently deceased. And before they die, if they're sick, if they're terminally ill and they know that they're not going to make it, they call the family up. The family is all in the patient's room. They're crying, they boo-hooing, they're sad. Do hospital staff get desensitized to that? You can see that when you come into the hospital, right down in the lobby. You can see that in the lobby, in the waiting rooms. Because not if your loved one is terminal, more than likely they allow more people inside of the room, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes they only allow like maybe 2 or 3 people in the room at a time. So the other family members that may have come to visit and will pay say their last goodbyes have to wait out in the lobby, wait out in the waiting room. And it's sad. It's sad. You see a lot of crying. You see a lot of sadness. You see a lot of sorrow. You see the pain and agony of somebody losing somebody that they love. It's hard. All right, so Michael Ramirez says, LL Cool J. Is he hard as hell? Is he hard as hell? Okay. All right. But yeah, man. And staying on the hospital workers, the nurses, the techs, the doctors, of course, even housekeeping personnel, everybody who works in the hospital gets a little piece of that desensitization. But when you start talking about the deceased, you can't have a conversation about the deceased without talking about when they go to the morgue. And who picks them up from the morgue? The coroner. Would you say that probably most coroners, medical examiners, how do they feel about death? Are they desensitized to death? Wait a minute. Now Troy's coming. So who's Troy regular? Because I see Troy Diesel. What's happening here? What's happening over here? Troy, you got 2 accounts, or is that? No, that both of them are Troy. Both of them are Troy Diesel. Fuck that. All right. Do I think homosexuality is a sin? That's what you talking to yourself? What up, Oakland? What's good? What's good, man? Good to see you. Good to see you, without a doubt. Oh, here we go. Man, shit, y'all participating and trolling at the same time? What the fuck is going on? My man Buana Haguski. What's good, my dude? How you feeling? But the medical examiner, and whoever works in the medical examiner's office, are they desensitized to death? I don't see how they can be. They actually have to play around with the dead body. How about morticians? You know, the undertaker, the funeral home. You know what I mean? Who sees more death than them? How do they feel about it? How do they handle it? How do they handle it? I would imagine that it's a little difficult for them, you know? I would imagine that it's a little difficult for them. All right. Man, what the fuck is y'all talking about? What the hell? Cheryl Halsey, what's good? What's good? How you feeling? Yeah, this is some weird shit tonight, but fuck it. That's how we do on a Monday, going into Tuesday. That's how we do. Okay, let me look at the poll before I get back on this, on jobs that desensitize you. All right, now here's a real call. God damn.
You have a call
All right.
from
Troy,
my mellow.
what's going on, my fellow?
Yo, the trolls is coming through. I feel like
yeah. The boy Liam, he called me his gay cousin, and I just said to him, "How can I be your gay cousin when I knocked off your mom?
Listen,
I'm your father." You told him I told him to take his ass to bed before I whooped his ass, and he better done the dishes.
Listen. I wasn't even talking about him. This phone, I turned the volume all the way down. They calling in here. They like, yo, I'm getting some of this shit. I'm like, watch how it go. Watch. You know what I'm saying? They don't understand. They don't understand who they fucking with. But I'm about to learn them. I'm about to learn them some lessons. But anyway, so I want to go to the poll. And then we're going to get into this, we're going to continue this this conversation about jobs that desensitize you. All right. So how would you rate your sensitivity to violence and death? That's the poll question. So out of 28 votes so far, what do we have? People say, all right, 29% says used to it, experienced too much of it. You know, it's a sad thing when you have grew up and have had to get used to a lot of violence and death, not necessarily in that order. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But okay, 21% says can't stand blood and funerals. I know a lot of people who can't stand the sight of blood. And I know people who can't handle going to funerals. Plenty of people. You know. Okay, another 21% says makes me afraid to go out at times. I hate to say that shit, but it's a legitimate concern.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's a legitimate concern. And the last option is bring it on. I'm ready. So we talking about the heat holders here, I guess. You know what I mean? So they either gonna knock something out or pop something off.
Well,
I understand.
I don't think you mentioned police officers.
I did.
You did, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, between the top two are the hospital people and police officers. Because every time when I talk to my bros about being police officers, the first thing I ask them is that do you go through a lot of post-traumatic stress disorder on your job? When you see certain things that you
you really don't want to that you have to see. You know.
Well, you talking about with cops?
Yeah, with cops.
Okay.
Like even with my cousin yesterday, I talked to him. He worked at Penn Presbyterian. And he do security. And he said, well, when he's one of the people that when people come in, when they come in through the emergency room, trauma vet, he's the one that has to check their pockets to see if they got anything on. Even the people that get shot. So, like I said, I asked him. I said, "Did you go through a lot of mental? Does it fuck with your mental having to see that?" He said, in the beginning it did. He had to go to a little bit of therapy and get that stuff out. But right now, it's right. The word you just used, desensitize.
Is he desensitized now?
Yeah, he is now. He said, he just got to realize that it's just a job he has to do. He has to think about it that way, because if he think about it in the other way, he's going, feel some type of way about it. Plus, he's had a nephew. He had a brother-in-law, a brother, and a nephew that's been murdered like that. So it's gun violence. So it just opens up old wounds, even if it's not family. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. When you're desensitized to something, like you don't feel it anymore. You know what I mean? It makes you take your emotions totally out of something. And it's a sad thing to be desensitized to death. It's a sad thing to be desensitized to violence. At the same time, it can be helpful in a way, because at least now you have this protective shield. So there's sometimes things that you can find pros in that you really wish you could look at as 100% cons. But this is the life that we have to live, and we got to make it through this thing. Right. So the way that some people are able to deal with it is different from person to person. When I was talking about cops earlier in the program, I was talking about how they can be desensitized to thinking that people in the neighborhood have any decency, because they only deal with criminal behavior, call after call after call after call. You know what I mean? All negativity. So how do you police a neighborhood where you seeing all of this violence, the shootings, the stabbings, the fights, the abuse, the whatever, there's all negative, either violent acts or criminal acts. How do you get to the point where you think that anybody around there is decent? You know what I mean? So right. You can be desensitized to decent behavior. And I was also talking about COs, like prison guards. They become desensitized a lot, or the motherfuckers be locked in therapy because they're not desensitized and they fucked up. It's hard for them to go to work every day. From the COs that I've known, either they love their job because they love that drama and all of that shit, or they fucking can't stand it. Hate it. It's a check. You know what I mean? It's a check. That's it. That's it. But there's so many jobs that we don't really think about that can desensitize you to certain things. Like, have you ever seen videos of a slaughterhouse?
Yeah, at one point. Yeah.
That shit is nasty work.
I turned it real quick, though.
Yo, that shit is disgusting, man. Like, when you see that shit, you ask yourself, how the fuck am I eating meat? Because the way they kill them, it don't make you're desensitized to the pain that animals feel and the anxiety that animals feel. You know that you got them cows or them pigs lined up to get their heads cut off and their whole bodies chopped up, and they got to see the one in front of them. Those cows or whatever have to see the cow in front of them get killed like that, and they know they next. And you, the human, are the ones that set up this assembly line of death. And your whole justification is, well, we gotta eat, and we gotta make this money. So you're desensitized to death, especially when it comes to animals. And honestly, anybody who works in a slaughterhouse, I don't see how they could be exempt from violent acts of a human nature. You know what I'm saying? Like, what would stop them from, or other acts like, sexual abuse and stuff like that? How can you be sensitive to pain of human beings when you do animals that way?
That's the truth.
You know what I mean?
I never forgot one time I was on I was looking at HBO, and they showed in China how they was killing dogs. I mean, killing cats and dogs, like throwing them in hot water, taking them out, and I had to turn the channel real quick because you know what they was using them for, eating.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is some shit right here. You know what I mean? It's just some shit. It's just certain things can, like, if you see it so much, you become used to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And if you're around it a lot, it's like, when you see crackheads, like growing up and you seen crackheads, when you see them enough, you're like, this is the norm.
Mm.
When you hear gunshots, you see people that sometimes when they hear gunshots, they don't even run no more.
Yeah.
Because it's the norm. They're used to it. So.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, I mean, it's just pretty much, that's some certain situations. Like, it doesn't have to be something major. Like, you desensitized to the bullshit you go through on your job. If you've been there for so long and you're going through so much bullshit, you're so used to going through, you just like, you know what? It's just the norm.
What would you say that you're desensitized to?
You desensitized from going through disagreements over shit that shit you can't change. Like, me being a chef, I would go through, like, when I go through shit with people on the job, it would be people that doesn't have the same knowledge that I have, and they become jealous, so they want to come at me about what I know, get upset about me about what I know, and then turn back around and yell and scream and harp on what because they're trying to cover up what they don't know. I've had a chef that, when he fucked up, he'll come over to me and try to point out my faults because he didn't want his faults point out until our head chef seen it and was like, yo, don't do that anymore. You know what I'm saying? So I had to become desensitized from that type of bullshit, because if you don't, it's going to go to a different way. It's going to go on a different level.
Mm-hmm.
You'll sit back and you'll allow yourself to get caught up in stupid shit. Like, I'm desensitizing myself from some of the shit that these grown boys in the live stream is saying things.
Yeah.
Because the who is it, Liam or whoever, I like people like these people because, when they're on the computer, they're so fucking funny and tough. But if you was to see these guys on the street, they be cold bitches.
Maybe worse than that.
Yes. But I digress. Matter of fact, Liam, spell digress.
But yeah, when I think about the desensitization, I'm thinking more along the lines of being desensitized to things that you may need to either have feelings for on a regular basis, or things that directly affect you. Things that are really a part of your life. You know what I'm saying? So You know, having a job where you're desensitized to violence, having a job where you're desensitized to pain and suffering, having a job where you're desensitized to empathy. You know what I mean? Or understanding. You know, that's a problem. You know, like I said, you know, you think about people who work as coroners or in the medical examiners or work as morticians.
Officers. Yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, what's bothersome to me is like when these kids go to school, when they're in school and they see the situation that when them guys walk in school and shoot up the school. Like I wonder how as they get older, as time goes on, are they desensitized by what they've seen, or is it still post-traumatic stress disorder? You know what I'm saying?
On behalf of who?
On behalf of the kids that seen they classmates get killed, like in Columbine and the school up in Connecticut when all them kids got killed up in there.
Well, you know, PTSD is not a form of desensitization.
No, I'm saying, I wonder if they, after they got past that, did they become desensitized by that?
I don't think that any of them have gotten past it. There is no getting past that. There's no getting past that. It's just like when dudes go in the army and they see their comrades, they see their fellow platoon mates and all of that. They see them get killed and all that. They don't get past that. They live past it, but they don't get past it. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers be having nightmares, all kind of crazy nightmares for the rest of their lives. Ask their wives have they gotten past it. They'll tell you, hell no. Hell no, dude. That's why a lot of them take themselves out. You know what I mean? Can't deal with that shit. So it's tough. When you are desensitized to something, you don't feel it. You don't feel it anymore. You know what I mean? When you still have nightmares about shit, when you cry, when you are by yourself or whatever, when you think about that shit, you're not desensitized to it. And there's a difference between acting like something doesn't affect you and actually being desensitized to it. Unfortunately, I think I really am desensitized to a lot of violence and death because I've seen so much of it. You know what I mean? Like, when we were talking the other day or earlier, and you were talking about how, the boy got killed right next to you. I've been through that same thing in the club. You know what I mean? Dude, 5 feet away from me. You hear this little pat, and then he drops on the floor. The blood just runs. The blood runs out of his head, and everybody else ran out the door or wherever they could, to escape the assailant. How many times does that have to happen before you see like, oh, yeah, I could lose my life at any time. And you start to kind of prepare for that shit. It doesn't mean that you're desensitized to it, but when you've seen multiple people get murdered, that form of death doesn't hit you the same way as it does for a person who has never seen it before. You know what I mean? So we're talking about deep emotional and psychological factors that go into desensitization. A lighter example I'm thinking of is being a trash collector, a trash man. The one that works on the trash truck that collects the trash from people's houses, residential properties. They might be desensitized to the smell and disgusting nature of garbage.
Yeah, you gotta do that.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta do that.
So where, for some people, seeing maggots and shit like that, It'd probably really gross them out, maybe even make them throw up. Not for the trash man. No big thing. That's how they make their living. And you think the trash at your curb is bad. Look at when we get to the dump. You know what I mean? Like you be wondering how these seagulls and all that shit be eating this nasty ass shit. And you realize the cycle, well, not the cycle of life, but the food chain.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Buzzards and seagulls and other birds and shit. They eating the trash because that's their job. That's how nature intended for them to clean up. So a trash man is going to see all that shit. But you, one day you go to work with him. One day you might be calling Earl, like you seasick on land.
Mm-hmm.
So there are different ways to be desensitized. Now let's talk about some more positive ways to be desensitized. Some more positive ways that we may not have thought about before. And we can get back on track with the negative shit too. But when you think about it, when you are a performing artist or an athlete and you have to do your thing in front of large amounts of people, you're doing something that most people in the population would rather die than do.
Mm-hmm.
Would rather die than to get up on stage or have to speak in front of people. Man, I'll never forget my speech comm classes that I had to take when I was in college. Seeing people break down and cry. And they wasn't weeping silently. It was like, oh no, I can't fucking do this. Willing to take the F.
Mm-hmm.
Willing to take the F in the class because they did not want to speak in front of people. Crazy work. But when you are a performing artist, and especially an athlete, to whereas, you know what I mean, maybe the average basketball player who's pretty good at it or whatever sport, it might be hard for them to play away games because they're not used to people not cheering for them. You know what I mean? So you as a team, y'all mess around and lose all your away games. But through practice and sheer determination, you get better and better in training. You get better and better at performing, like blocking out the crowd negativity, and maybe even the cheering crowd, so you can do your thing. So you have become desensitized to the pressures put on you by the crowds or by fans. That's probably a desensitization that works in your favor.
Like even you talk about public speaking, like even with when we do comedy, you have to desensitize yourself from the audience at times and just focus on the craft. Because if you focus on people talking in the audience, or you focus on somebody might be trying to talk to you while you're on stage, or it'll throw you off your rock. Mm-hmm. So you have to focus your attention. Like, let me ask you a question. Do you remember the first time you got on stage and done comedy?
Man, do I? Hell yeah. And that was nowhere near the first time I had ever spoke in front of people. Mm-hmm. Man, I was nervous as shit. Mm-hmm. Truth be told, in the early days, I used to have to talk myself into going, what open mic night was on Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
I had to talk myself into going, or talk myself out of making an excuse not to go every Wednesday for a year or two. Like, nah, I ain't get my shit right. I'm going to practice a little bit more and then I'm going to go next week. But me being who I am, that was a bitch move. So I kept going. Had to take my bumps and bruises till I got better. because I wasn't going to get better in a vacuum. I had to go out there and get used to those crowds.
But the funny thing about it, right, is not to get off the subject, but when I was helping my friend write jokes for open mic night for the Laugh House. I was helping him write jokes in '96.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I could have been doing it in '96, but I didn't. I was too nervous to get on stage, period.
Okay.
So, you know, like I told you, you know, the position I was in at the time, comedy pretty much saved my life.
Mm.
You know, so I just thought I'd ask you that because, you know, when you eat public speaking is pretty much the same thing as doing comedy.
No,
you know,
it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Actually,
you know,
comedy is comedy
is even harder because
comedy is way harder. There's nothing harder than telling jokes in front of people. Nothing comes close. Nothing comes close because you don't have a script. Like if you are in a play or a ballet or whatever, you have a script that you have to follow. You've already practiced it. You know what I mean? They already know what to expect from you when you go out there. If you're a singer or whatever, either they like your song or they don't. Either they like your performance or they don't. But with comedy, that shit is a wild card. You know, no teammates. Can't nobody help you while you up there. Nothing can save you except you. You are on an island. So yeah. But yeah, the thing is, I've never become desensitized to speaking in front of a crowd. I'm not desensitized to it. There's always a certain nervousness. Even when I do this, there's a certain amount of nervousness to it. I'm getting better and better at it, and I'm sure I make it look like anybody can do it because people tell me all the time, anybody can do what you do. Anybody. I'm like, okay. I'm glad I'm making it look like that. It's not as easy as it looks. It takes a lot of practice.
You know, well, everybody say they can do what another person can do until they got to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody would say, you know, comedy easy, and we already know that's not easy. Everybody would say, what you doing right now, this is also a form of public speaking. Only difference is that the people are not around you; they're on your live stream.
Well,
you know,
just like when we were on stage. Remember, I've let people come on stage and try to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It never went well.
No, it didn't.
It never went well for them. You know what I mean? They go slinking back to their seat. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't what you think it is. When you see that light hit your face, it's different. When everybody it's different on a basketball court, and you know you making people laugh, and or at the rec center, or in your classrooms, in the schoolyard, in the lunchroom, and all that's good.
Around the way with the boys, or at the family event, they get their knee. Oh, you funny as shit. You gotta make that person that don't know you. You gotta make them laugh now.
Yeah. So yeah, it's any good comedian makes it look like anybody could do that. But when you bring your unprepared ass on stage, yeah, it ain't gonna go there. It ain't gonna go how you think. Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, William Beaver says, facts. I can do what anyone can do physically. I ain't getting on stage. I mean, hey, you know, that's a lot of transparency right there.
At least he understands that, you know. A lot of people don't understand that. But the thing is that he wouldn't even know if he can do it unless he tried. You know, trying it can be just as easy. It's easy, you know, it's hard in the beginning, but after 3 or 4 times when you develop a I don't give a fuck attitude, it's pretty much easy. Either you're going on. It was. I never forgot. It was this one comedian boy that came down every week. And I think I don't know if you. I don't remember his name, but he got on that open mic stage, and every week he would bomb. He'll say, "I'll be back next week."
Man, I mean, listen, man, I get it. It's just not what people think it is. Peace to my man RANA. Thanks for coming through. Yeah, this is our regular time, man. We start at 2:00 during the week. So from Monday to Friday, we on it from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. So it's only on the weekends that we do our thing in the daytime. My man Jay Sloan. My man Jay Sloan is in the house. How you feeling? Thanks for coming through, y'all. Appreciate y'all. So, yeah. So there are a lot of, and Jason said something interesting. He said that's why. I think that's why so many performers resort to drugs and alcohol. So would you say that they resort to drugs and alcohol to try to desensitize themselves to the pressure that they feel in order to perform, or are they?
No. I think that was already their norm. That was already what they were into.
Not everybody now, because not everybody, because I've seen people who's clean body, like my man DG, he ain't drink. You know what I mean? Didn't drink, didn't curse, didn't do none of that.
Well, your boy DG wanted to be part of the in crowd, and that's what changed him. That had nothing to do with comedy. That had something to do with him not being a leader. That had something to do with him being a follower.
Well, I mean, but you also have to think about the fact that he was very young going in. So of course, I mean, to think that he wasn't going to go through major changes as he grew into manhood is, I mean, come on, we have to take that into consideration. My body.
Well, we gonna say this, son, because I agree to you, but I disagree on one part. Because we both came up in the same era. Right. And we never allowed nobody to push us in a direction that we didn't want to go in. So the thing about DG is he allowed people to push him in a direction that he shouldn't have went in. And that's the problem. When you sit back and when you're a leader, you lead by example. When you're a follower, you follow other people's examples. And that's what he done. And that's the problem with certain people. You're a leader. I'm a leader. You know what I mean? I used to be around, my boys used to go out and do stupid shit. And I'd be like, yo, I'm not getting involved with that shit. And they know that. They know I'm not doing it. Yo, you want to go over there and fight that guy? We going to go over there. You going to fight him. And if anybody jump in, then we jump in. But I'm not going to fight that motherfucker. I'm not fighting all these guys and getting in no big time little gang war thing. And I'm friends with some of these guys. You got a problem with that one? You fight that one. We watch and see you fight.
Okay, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but like I said, my whole point was there are some people who weren't drinkers or smokers or whatever, and now they might be.
Yeah, that's
what
true.
I mean? Life happens. You know what I'm saying?
Life be life.
Yeah, it ain't no big deal. I mean,
but what I'm saying is that he's saying performers, and what I'm saying is that there are performers that come in there, but that's already part of their agenda. And there's performers that they develop, like what you're saying is that DG developed into that alcohol drinking.
Yeah, I'm not saying that he's an alcoholic or any kind of substance abuser, but he was a clean body.
Yeah, he was.
You know what I mean? Ain't no way around it. He was a clean body. And I mean, I can't, regardless of anything personal, he eating off of this shit. No regular job. I mean, I can't front on that. You know what I mean? He eating handsomely. You know, you ain't got to be a millionaire to be eating well. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, you can't deny the success. And I'm not here to do that. But staying on topic, what we talking about as far as desensitization, one thing I do know is that anybody who abuses drugs or alcohol is looking for desensitization that they cannot find.
Mm-hmm.
You know
And
what I mean?
that's why they continuously go to it, because that's what they're looking for. They're trying to take their mind to a whole different place.
Right.
And it's not, once it wears off, you go right back to that drug or that alcohol.
Okay, but the question that probably needs to be asked and answered is, what are you trying to desensitize yourself to?
You mean, well, you talking about from?
Yes.
Well, I think like death.
When you drink and or abuse drugs?
Well, yes. I've had family members, when they lost their mom, they weren't on drugs. But when they lost their mom, they developed a drug problem. They developed a drug problem because they couldn't experience that loss, or they or if you lose your wife or a child, that can take you to a deep part. That can take you to a deep, deep part in your life, man, that you cannot control. And it can put your mind in it. It can take your mind to a part where as though you can't handle it.
Okay. I guess my issue with that is that I've never known anybody who abused drugs who didn't start off with alcohol first. And I've never known anybody who became an alcoholic without already being on the path of being a drinker in the first place. So you may have ramped up your usage, or your consumption, but you was already in the game.
Well, I'm not saying. Well, let's just put it like that. The part what you said, the last part is you might have ramped it up. That's I can see that part. You know what I mean? But I've known guys that was on alcohol and they turned that shit right around and got right on them drugs.
Mm.
You know, because they trying to desensitize themselves from the trauma they've gone through.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you try your best to desensitize yourself. I mean, you had the thing about women cutting their hair off when they go. That's a way of desensitizing yourself. Sometimes you do stupid shit to get you to a point of getting your mind away from things, and regardless if other people might think it's stupid, in your mind it's like, no, this is not stupid. I'm gonna do this.
I don't know if you could use desensitize in that example.
Somebody doing something different to themselves to take your mind away from something else that they might be going through.
Okay, so we're talking about jobs that desensitize you, and when I think about desensitization, I'm thinking about a situation where you're not proactively trying to desensitize yourself, but you're put in a situation. If we're talking about jobs, we're talking about, this is how you make your money. This is how you feed your family. This is how you keep a roof over your head. So you had to acclimate yourself into certain behaviors or certain exposure to certain things, and eventually it desensitized you to whatever other people's concerns might have been. You may or may not have ever really thought about it. When I think about somebody actively trying to kill the pain or something like, or kill some emotional pain, I'm not thinking about desensitization. I don't think desensitization is the word that we're looking for. I'm not sure if it applies there. You're trying to escape something. I guess you could say you're trying to dull the pain, but I mean, everybody knows that it's a temporary fix. So that's not desensitizing yourself. A nurse or a doctor that goes to work every day, seeing all of that pain, all of that anguish, all of those concerns, all of that anxiety, all of that death, they get that shit every day. They know it's coming. There's not going to be a day that I do not see somebody in pain. So I have to be desensitized to it, or I can't do my job. Can't do it. It can't be like, all right, well, I gotta take a drink every time I see a patient. Like that ain't gonna work. You know what I mean? So when you think about something you're desensitized to, just like when we were talking about violence, if you're desensitized to violence, that's not something that you were trying to get desensitized to. It happened because of your exposure to it. You've seen so much of it, you've experienced so much of it, not of your own choosing, but because of circumstance, because of your environment. There wasn't anywhere else for you to go. You had to live that life. And now it just doesn't affect you the same way that it does for other people. Okay, like, shoot. Okay, shoot, you want to talk about jobs that might desensitize you to something? Let's say you take a job up in Alaska and you from Alabama. Extremes, you know what I mean? You're going from a place that's extremely warm, even though Alabama has 4 seasons, they don't have 4 seasons like Philly and New York do. You know what I mean? It's not the same. It's nowhere near it. So you go all the way up to you go all the way up to Alaska. You're dealing with 6 months of daylight, 6 months of nighttime. Like it ain't no day. Morning and night are the same thing. And it's cold. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's cold as shit. How many days of summer do they have in Alaska? Let me see. How many warm days do they have in Alaska? Okay, Alaska's summer season typically from June to mid-August. It is when it experiences its warmest days, according to Alaska Tours. While temperatures can vary greatly, depending on the location, some areas like Fairbanks can see highs above 80 degrees. The average temperature in Anchorage during the summer is typically in the mid-60s. Summer in the mid-60s? Man. So you know what that October gonna be like, right?
Right.
Halloween gonna be a beast.
Mm-hmm.
So, but being up there, shoot, forget about Alaska. Shit, Minnesota is bad. Milwaukee, Chicago. And I've seen my cousins up in Milwaukee. You don't see them all bundled up with scarves. When I go up there in the wintertime, I'm up there looking, I'm damn near mummified. They like, like, why you got all that shit on? Because they are desensitized more than I am to that cold. They are more impervious to the cold. I'm like, man, I'm from down south compared to y'all. Yeah, you ain't know Philly was from down south. It is compared to this shit. Y'all tripping. So, because they have become so acclimated into that weather, they're so used to it, they are more desensitized to the cold. They're not totally impervious to it, but they are, in comparison to somebody who lives down south, you're going to have to thicken up your skin. It's like when you cut the fur off of a cat and put it in a cold area, it's going to grow back thicker and maybe even darker. So, yeah, when we talk about being desensitized to something and we're talking about jobs, you may work at a job where you may be desensitized to allergies that you had before. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, you took a job down in the rainforest or some shit. Or some shit like that. And, your body may have made adjustments. You know what I mean? It wasn't something that you were trying to do. You may have adapted because you had to in order to take on this job. That probably wasn't the best example. But, you know, when we talk about violence or pain or suffering or hurt or whatever, okay, like, you know what? I got a good one. Motherfuckers who work in group homes, dealing with the youth, at-risk youth. You know what I mean? At-risk youth. You know, I hate to say this. I really hate to say this. But I can understand, except for the sexual abuse, I could understand how the violence against these teens would work. I could understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Here it is, you took a job trying to help these motherfuckers, and you dealing with cats that think they're bigger than you, stronger than you, tougher than you, better fighters than you. And this is what you got to deal with. Day in and day out, day in and day out. Now, what are you becoming desensitized by that? From that, I should say. You're probably being desensitized to sort of like what a police officer or a prison guard is desensitized to. You're desensitized to the fact that there are some decent people out there. You know what I mean? Because you're dealing with nothing but bad apples day in and day out, day in and day out. That's how they made it to your job. So you have to take on a different persona and a different defense mechanism than most of the people do that don't work in these places.
Right.
You might become desensitized to their pain, the kids' pain and suffering. Ain't nothing wrong with you, punk motherfucker. Because you might be thinking like, that's what you get. That's what the fuck you get. No, that ain't right. That's not the way to be thinking. How do you escape it though? You know? Them working in a nursing home. Are you desensitized to neglect? Could be. Maybe you might be desensitized to neglect and mistreatment.
That's true.
Most nursing homes, that's what you
or
get.
You could be desensitized. You can be, well, not so much desensitized, because I think I don't know, it was Cheryl with the S. I think she said, you know, when you work in them nursing homes or you work in them hospitals and you develop a bond with them people, that creates you know, you have to try to desensitize yourself from that. I think one of them said, it's something similar to that. You know, you can't when you're in a hospital, you can show sympathy and empathy, but you can't, you know, carry it around with you, because at the end of the day, it can hurt you more than help you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because if that person goes in a direction, in a bad direction, and it becomes a fatality, then you'll be like, then that shit will bring you down.
Facts.
You know, so you have to get your mind. You have to, even though you want to show sympathy and empathy, you have to always have your mind fixated on something that this can go left.
Yeah.
You know, you can't keep your mind like, well, we doing a great job. Everything this, everything that. You know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean,
I got an interesting desensitization job. People who work in the sex industry. Real shit.
Oh yeah, that's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
People
if
who work,
got to do that, they got to do that.
Well, but you have to think about what they may be desensitized to. They might be desensitized to healthy sexual behavior. Maybe even affection, because that's not what they're witnessing. They're not witnessing affection. Straight lust and fucking. Day in and day out. Maybe the way that they look at sex is that it always has to have it always has to have a price tag attached to it. You understand what I mean?
Right.
But one thing about people who work in the sex industry, they have a hard time forming healthy relationships, especially as it pertains to sex. So whereas it would probably turn your stomach or make you go get the pistol out of the drawer if you saw your wife getting pounded out by another man. But for them porn stars, for them, you know, think about the cameraman. Everybody who works in the industry, whether you work in a brothel or, you know what I mean, you a pimp or, you know what I'm saying? Everybody has been abused and everybody is halfway abusing somebody. Halfway or all the way. You know, but they desensitized to all of that shit. You know what I mean? I've talked to porno stars. They don't see nothing wrong. That lets you know that they fucked up. You know? Like, they are in deep. And I don't mean that in a good way. They are in deep and in a very, very troubled way. So, you know. So you just gonna go back and forth with this boy in the chat, huh?
Well, I gotta say something to him, man.
Okay.
I gotta say something to him. I mean, I just hate when people get on here and they just say stupid shit, and you know. And since I got this, oh, my fault. Yeah, and I do have two things now. I got this new damn little tablet that my son ain't bought me. So I might as well utilize it while I'm on the phone with you.
Okay.
I might as well utilize it, you know.
Hold on, these motherfuckers. Yo, this fucking YouTube shit is some bullshit, dog.
Well, what
You
happened
know
now?
what? They flagged the Friday show, the music show?
Why they flag that?
Yo, the fuck if I know? Like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, what? Like, huh? Now, and that's the second music show that they flagged in a row. Now, I think they just didn't like the title of the one last week about black music and white music.
Mm-hmm.
But this? Huh? What are we doing? Yeah. That's crazy. So they getting back on their shit. They was letting me live for a minute. But they getting back on they getting back on their joint. But that joint Friday, that don't make no sense. The original song versus the remake?
Was it because we were singing it?
No.
I don't know what the fuck they did that for.
Yo, I'm like, huh? Yeah, that one. Since there was, well, then they definitely going flag this one. Just for GP, I guess. This shit is wild. Okay. Well, fuck it. Still I rise. Let's go. So, but yeah,
I like that. Still I ride.
I mean, fuck it, man. You know what I mean? Shit. You know what I mean? Everybody don't want to see you. But yeah, when you talk about people who work in the sex industry, you know what I mean? Abnormal sex behavior, abnormal sexual behavior becomes the norm to you. You know what I mean? Like, how do you? So you basically desensitize to healthy sexual behavior. You're desensitized to that, or you could say that you're desensitized to unhealthy sexual behavior. It doesn't appall you. It doesn't offend you. It doesn't. Yeah, that might be the better way to put it. You might be desensitized to abnormal or unhealthy sexual behavior. Like somehow all sex looks good to you or normal or that's just what some people do. That's just their thing. Like, okay, you right, but are you right? You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's something you got to deal with. You know what I mean? This is something you got to deal with. But yeah, jobs that desensitize you. Woo. Working at the
being a teacher.
Definitely.
Being a teacher.
Definitely.
I know. I couldn't be no teacher. I couldn't be no teacher because I'm trying to like I could just see me like taking my own belt, whooping somebody else's kids in that class. I couldn't be no teacher.
I've wanted to teach for years. I've tinkered around with becoming like doing substitute teacher work.
You did what?
I've tinkered around with doing substitute teacher work plenty of times because I believe in the youth. I believe in the kids that actually go to school. The kids that don't go to school, I don't believe in them. But the ones that go to, I figure if I can get you in school, I can teach you something. You know what I mean? I've never really had a problem with kids being disrespectful or anything like that. But I think that you have to know how to reach them. You have to understand that any problem child or disruptive student, that problem started in the home. Once you get that together, then you can start to get to him. You can start to reach him. You can start to find out his level and get on it and use it to your advantage. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, because I mean, shoot, when I was in school, it wasn't about, teachers fucking us up. They disciplined us when they needed to, but the kids who had parents who cared about them didn't want to get in trouble in school. The ones who had parents who didn't really give a fuck, it didn't matter. And that played out in the classrooms. But one thing I found out about children and women, you get them by themselves. I mean, you gotta get them all by themselves because they will play to the crowd. Gotta get them by themselves. Shut the door and ask them, what the fuck is going on with you? No, this is real shit. You ask, and demand the answer. Like, come on, like you better than this. You are fucking better than this. Why the fuck are you doing this shit that you doing? I've found that works with women, with children and women.
But would you say it like that to the student?
Yeah.
Why the fuck?
We in a space by ourselves. Because once you let them know that it's not about once they see that you care, because you gotta give them some positive reinforcement. Like, yo, you're smarter than this, you're better than this. Why the fuck are you doing this shit that you doing? Now, you can take all the time that you want. I just need an explanation for you. I'm gonna turn you back out into the wild, but I need to know why the fuck you are doing what you're doing. For real, for real. Go ahead. You know what I mean? Let me know. Because something ain't right here. I know that you can do better than what the fuck you doing right here. So what's going on? Ain't nobody for him or her to play to. The tears gonna start rolling because they acting out because something is going on. They might be confused about their sexuality. They may have been getting bullied. They might have been getting teased. They might have, somebody is at home might be sick or neglectful or just passed away. You don't know, but you know that something is going on. And once they don't have the peanut gallery around to impress or whatever, and it's just you and them, like I said, the tears go, you know what I mean? They're going to get quiet. And then you be like, nah, go ahead. I got time. I got time today. You let me know what's going on, because I got to know. They're going to get quiet. They're going to think about the shit. Remember, they ain't got, you know what I mean? They can't go nowhere. This is their time. Then the tears going to start flowing. Well, Mr. McIntyre, shit is just fucked up out here. And then now you ain't gonna have no more problems with that person, with that student no more again. Not that kind of problem. Now, I mean, I ain't saying they ain't never gonna act out again, but now you know where it comes, where it's coming from, and now they know that they have a resource in you. So they're not gonna want to disappoint you again. They don't want that. And the fact that they was in school in the first motherfucking place should let you know that they can be dealt with. So yeah, I've done this before. So yeah, it ain't, But yeah, as a teacher that doesn't understand that, you can become demoralized easily. Start to believe that, it's the kids in these neighborhoods, they can't be blah, 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 blah. Like, you wasn't trained to only be able to teach people from a certain demographic. You're a teacher. Now, if this job is too stressful for you, you need to get out of teaching. But this is the job. That's it. But I can understand it. Now, when I think about be a job that might desensitize you to something, I think along the lines of being an SPCA worker, you know what I mean? A tech or a veterinarian. Especially the ones that gotta administer the green juice. That
What's the green juice?
That's the euthanized shit.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Having to put them animals down. So the very animals that you went to school to try to fix, you realize that because of the population, you know what I mean? And sometimes the cost, you got to recommend, all right. So
dead dog, dead cat walking.
Not just that, but you might become desensitized to the, a lot, man, shit, man, when my cat Lovey had to get put down, man, I cried like a baby.
Oh, shit.
Man, that cat was 19 years old. I had it from a kitten.
Listen, bro, I had my first cat when I grew up. His name was Freddie. We had that cat from 76 till 1994, 95. The last time I seen Freddie lost his meow. He couldn't meow no more.
Mm.
He was like,
mm-hmm.
I was like, damn.
Cats can
my
live a
older
long
brother
time.
was taking care of him, so he said, I'm just going to walk off and die because I know this bastard ain't going to do a good job taking care of me.
So yeah, man, you can become desensitized to the pain, suffering, the anxiety. When motherfuckers bring if you bring your animal into an animal hospital or something like that, you already know that you care about that animal because you coming out your pockets.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see that you're not able to pay for your animal to be, they might be too sick or it might be too expensive. You just can't do it. It ain't excuse me, it ain't economically feasible. That's a hurt piece.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't that much different than not having insurance for grandma.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And you gotta let them go. But yeah, as a veterinarian, you might be desensitized to seeing people suffer, or to the sadness and the despair of
Pets is somewhat similar to humans when they pass away, especially, if you had that dog or cat, whatever, for what, years and years since you was a kid. I mean, that shit is painful.
man. Like I said, my cat was 19 years old and had no health problems until she did. You know what I'm saying? No, never got her fixed and none of that shit, no neutered and all of that shit. Because other cats that I got that done to, they didn't live long. So I said, you know what? Fuck that. Fuck that. It's a house cat. The fuck they need to be neutered and shit for anyway? Well, if it's a girl, if it's a boy, the motherfucker gonna stink up your crib, so you got to do it. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, bottom line is, an animal is that's like a child of yours. You know what I mean? Or some kind of family member that long. Shit, you didn't feed and take care of no animal that many years because you ain't had nothing better to do. You know? So yeah, I could see how being a veterinarian could desensitize people to, other people's anxiety and sadness, sorrow, their emotional pain. Gotta give them the green juice. You know what I mean? And my cat knew. He was like, she knew she was sick. And she knew, like, yeah, I'm in this strange joint. Y'all know I would have normally been tripping. I'm too weak. Yeah, I know I'm going. That shit hurt, dog. That shit hurt. I was like she know. Like, she's like, yo, you would never sell me out. So I know if you brought me here, yeah, the end is, this is a riz. This is a riz. Yeah, I mean, it's over. I took pictures of it. I was like, man, this shit is fucked up. I was crying I was like, fuck this world.
Did you come home and start punching the air like the bull from Boys in the Hood?
Shit, I damn near did it there. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that shit was crazy. And it cost you a lot of money, to get them cremated and all that shit. Shit, I was like, just give me my joint in a box. You know what I mean? I buried my pets in my mom's backyard. They charged me $350 for that shit. But anyway.
What, to give you the cat back or to euthanize it?
It cost $350 for the ashes and shit. They gave me a little urn. What the fuck, man? Fuck this. But I bet you I still got that urn. Oh well. Shit, I paid $350. That ain't what I remember signing up for, but oh well. But yeah, jobs that desensitize you, they could be a lot. Hold on. How about the motherfucking meter maids that work for PPA, the Philadelphia Parking Authority? Them motherfuckers are desensitized to people. Yo, them no good bastards. Giving out tickets. And that's all they do? Them motherfuckers are desensitized to people, you know what I mean, who have to pay senseless bills and shit. It's like a tax. I don't like cops and I don't like meter maids.
But
I
never understand that.
But I never have. You know what I mean? At least it ain't nothing new. But yeah, I understand they got a job to do, and you got a job that I hate. It is what it is. But there are plenty of jobs out there where you can be desensitized to certain things. Let me see. What is what is a job that you might be desensitized to fear or other people's fear? Other people's fears. I don't know. A haunted house actor? You know what I mean? Like some people are really afraid of that shit. Really afraid. But would you be desensitized to your own fear? Do you think that there's a job out there that can make you unafraid or desensitized to all fear? What could do that? You got a job being Evil Knievel or something? He sure didn't seem like he was scared to fuck himself up.
He didn't give a fuck.
Not at all. Not at all. Going back to the politicians, like I said, they're desensitized to corruption. Totally desensitized to corruption. They see that shit day in and day out, day in and day out. So the way we look at corruption and the way they look at it is totally different. Everybody they know is on the take. And so are they. They just have to make sure that they don't steal so much that they fall on the radar. Interesting.
What?
Somebody is calling in, and this is the last 5 minutes of the show. Hold on to your hat, because I smell a rat.
You have a call from.
Hello? It says here that we've received multiple complaints about your...
He thought he was getting in. He ain't get in, son. He ain't get in. You know what I mean? That motherfucker start talking. Cut his dumb ass right on off. Oh, hold on.
They might.
He thought he was getting in. I cut his dumb ass. He started talking. I cut his dumb ass right on off. I got something for you. Yeah. Now nobody can hear him. You know what I'm saying? He just talk away. Them motherfuckers don't understand, man. This is my mic and my camera. Fuck you. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna use my shit. Let me see. Now I got two of them on a three-way on the other device. They could talk to each other. It's a beautiful thing. Oh, I got the technology for that ass. Like, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
What's his name? Lego Lambo lover. He said, yeah, it's me. Nah, it wasn't me.
I know, right? Shirley Cheryl said astronauts. What are astronauts? What would they be desensitized to?
Fear.
You think?
Yeah, I mean, they have to be desensitized to fear. I mean, let's think about it. You had 2 space shuttles that blew the hell up. You know. Then you had you had 2 astronauts that just recently came home and was up there for 9 months.
But are they desensitized to all fear on all levels?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean that nothing scares them. You get a lot of preparation and training in order to go on them space missions. You know what I mean? Shit.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see the motherfuckers. Let me see how they act with a mouse comes out of nowhere.
Why Body and speak.
You know what I'm saying?
It just floats past. They it can't run. It just floats right by.
Well, I'm talking about it anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the crib, a Mickey might come out. They might lose their fucking shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, you can put a man on the moon, but you can't deal. You can't deal with a little rat.
No, a mouse. Don't say rat, bro.
Well, I'm just saying. Nonetheless, the moon is a lot. They say, didn't they say the moon is made of Swiss cheese?
Cheryl said fair of heights,
I'm going.
closed spaces, and gravity.
Yeah, well, you know, shoot, they might still be afraid of people.
If they scared of all that, then they shouldn't even been a damn astronaut.
I know, right?
Closed spaces, gravity, and height.
I never understood how an astronaut goes up in space, but a proctologist works with an ass.
I like that one. Good one.
All right, man, we're gonna get on the body here. We're gonna do these birthday shout outs, and then we gonna get on. I mean, I gotta go to bed. So you know how that go. It is what it is.
Know what you mean, bro. Well, just holler at your boy, man. Always a pleasure, man.
All right, good looking, man.
Good night to the live stream.
Have a good night, dog.
Much love, bro.
All right. My man Troy Diesel is in the house. All right, let's see the final results of this poll. Let's see. How would you rate your sensitivity to violence and death? Make sure our trolls don't get no love. Okay. All right, 39%. Now, this is out of 44 votes. 39% says used to it. They're used to it. Experience too much violence and death. 20% says can't stand blood and funerals. 14% says makes me afraid to go out sometimes. Go out at times. And 27% says bring it on. I'm ready. All right, cool. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to do these birthday shout outs. We have some birthday shout outs to do. Some people were born on this glorious. June 1st, and they deserve to be acknowledged. So let's go about our business of acknowledging them and making them feel special because they are special, because they are special, because they are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They get number one out the box. Well, okay. I'm gonna get to that. All right. Okay. I swear, boy, there are a lot of birthdays on the 2nd of the month. But hold on. Wait, it is June 2nd, right? All right. June 2nd, my girl, my cousin, Titonia Neal, happy birthday to you. And also, wait a minute. Something ain't right here. Son. Get it right. Asar Firo and Latasha Newly Muhammad and Tasha T. Bell. And also Takia Adams and Nyla El Shaddai, life coach Morgan. Can't forget, last but not least, my girl, going all the way back to the 1985, my girl Tonya Moss. I want to say happy birthday to all of y'all. And I hope that today finds you all in good health, happiness, mind, body, soul, and spirit. And that goes out to each and every person out there born on this glorious June 2nd, anywhere out there in the world, worldwide, internationally, and universally. All of y'all go ahead and turn up. But don't turn up too loud. Just turn up loud enough so everybody can hear you. Rock out, rock on and do the damn, the rock out. Rock on and do the damn, rock out. Rock on and do the damn thing. You do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. You do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. Good things happen to those who wait. Great things happen to those who grind. And anything can happen to those who go for theirs. So go hard, go for yours. And I said go hard, go for yours. And remember, so you took a kind of job that would make you feel like you never ever had to slob or even slave or feel nothing. You're still numb. So you go to work every day. You're asking, how come? How come you don't feel nothing? You used to feel those kind of emotions, but now you feel like fronting, and nobody can take that away. You gotta feel some kind of way, maybe another day. Say, if you stay on the job, you do your work, you try to make sure you got enough money for a shirt to put on your back. Yo, you can't be lacking. Gotta make sure you cuffing up and slacking. When I say slacking, I'm talking about the khakis. Understand what I'm talking about? Yo, go back, G. Yo, rewind it, spin it around, run it back, do what you gotta do, spin the block, get it whack. Everything is gonna be okay. So we gonna make sure that we work and live another day. The job you do might not be the one for me, but it is for you. So, yo, you get this money, boo. All right, we're going to stop there, man. Let me get on about here. I want to thank everybody for coming on through. Peace to all my day ones, my everydays, and my brand news. I love y'all to death. Resuscitate y'all. Love y'all right back to life. We will be back tomorrow night, 2 a.m. for another Daily Go-Getimism show. I want to thank everybody for coming through. Even some of y'all no good-ass trolls that came through. So good. It's so good. I ain't even mad at y'all. It is what it is. So at this time on the East Coast, what time is it? 4:07 a.m. So I figured that it's either time for you to go to work or time for you to go to bed. Time for me to go to bed. I'm going to holler at y'all later, man. Y'all be good. I hope y'all enjoyed listening to the show as much as I enjoyed broadcasting it. Thanks to my man, Troy Diesel, for calling in. Cheryl, happy birthday. Yeah, we're going to shout you out tomorrow, but I'm going to shout you out today. June 3rd. June 3rd. Cheryl, the world's most precious and greatest pearl in the world. Happy birthday, Ma. Peace. Don't forget to hit the like button, share the show, subscribe to the channel. All right.